He's gone. How could you? How could you? I told you. We told you. Oh. See? Come on.
Before she first met him, she was not in a good place. Just a teenager, but not like the others.
She can't do it. You can do
Barely
it.
functioning,
You can do
she
it.
rarely left the house. Her father's in-bell made sure of that. Only occasionally did she venture out on her own, collecting firewood and herbs. Errands out in the Orkney Plains. That was her world. Like this one. Barren and lonely.
You're getting stronger. It's already disappeared. There he is.
There he was. The lone figure of a boy. Swordplay under the shade of a tree. She remembers the first time she saw him. To her young eyes, he moved as if dancing. And the world danced with him. The gloom lifted.
Dillian is
For the first time in years, she felt a ray of hope.
The Northmen tell of a great hero. His name is Sigmund. His father's hall was built around a great tree, and one day, Odin comes and thrusts a sword into the tree, a gift to whomever can release it. Many try, but the sword only comes out at Sigmund's touch. His brother-in-law, King Siggeir, wants it, but Sigmund refuses him, so King Siggeir plots revenge. He invites Sigmund and his brothers to a feast. Death for Sigmund and his brothers seems certain. But the king's wife is Sigmund's sister, and she begs for mercy and implores the king to chain them up instead. He agrees. Not for mercy, though, but because he plans an even more cruel and lingering death. Chained to a tree in the forest that night, a she-wolf comes and devours one of Sigmund's brothers. She returns, ravenous, night after night, until only Sigmund is left. The next day, Sigmund's sister sends a servant with honey to smear on Sigmund's face. But to what end? Well, that night, when the she-wolf appears again, you'll never guess what happens. As the she-wolf licks the sweet honey from Sigmund's face, he bites the wolf's tongue. The she-wolf pulls away, but Sigmund holds on. The chains break, and he is free. After his escape, Sigmund lives like us, hidden in the forest. His enemy, King Siggeir, believing him dead, as his sister plots revenge. And for vengeance to succeed, even the great Sigmund needs it. So she sends her sons to him. Their blood is weak and corrupted. Their death by Sigmund.
Day after day, watching from afar, she mimicked him, perfecting her own secret dance, wishing those fleeting moments of light would stretch out to last forever.
Sigmund's sister trades shapes with sorcerers, and in disguise, she lies with her own brother. She gives birth to a son named Sinfjotli. After a time, she sends him to the forest to Sigmund. He tests the boy and finds him strong and fearless, and so they go to take their vengeance on King Siggeir. Luck is not on their side. They're captured, and Siggeir has them buried alive.
No, it's a trick. It's not real. Do you really think it's real? You're deluded. You can't even fight.
How does he so effortlessly court the world and bliss? If only she could do the same. See the world through eyes anew and dance with it, just like he does.
What's your name?
Senua.
I haven't seen you before.
I don't leave home much.
Oh, Zenua's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait. Who taught you to fight like that?
No one.
No one?
Well, I watched you, and
You learnt all of that from watching me? You should become a warrior, you know.
me?
I'm Dillian. I'm here for the warrior trials. Just come and watch. And bring your sword.
You can't put it into words. That moment when you look into the eyes of the one who's supposed to reassure you, make you feel safe. It only takes an instant. Fear swallows you before you have a chance to make sense of it. And darkness becomes a part of who you are.
You killed him.
But her world changed the day the Northmen took him from her.
Don't move.
Senua knows that there's no going back to how things were.
Don't move.
That there's nothing to go back to at all.
Their gods can see into your mind.
They won't stop me. I can still feel it.
Whatever's left of They will never let him go.
I'm not gonna let him rot here.
You're the one rotting here.
Leave me alone.
You will die here.
No.
And all your suffering will have been for nothing!
Dillion? Is that you? I'll find you, my love. I promise.
As Sigmund and Sinfjotli are being buried alive, Sigmund's sister throws an armful of straw into the grave mound. Hidden in the straw is Sigmund's sword, the gift of Odin. They cut their way out of the grave mound and set fire to Siggeir's hall. The king burns to death. Sigmund calls to his sister to come out so that she may live and be honored. She does come out, but only to tell him the truth. But she had slept with him, her brother, to beget a strong avenger. I am not fit to live, she says, and walks back into the fire. Strike vengeance from your heart, Senua, as there is always a heavy price to pay. And here is the end of Sigmund's story. He was a fierce and great warrior who fought many battles. But one day, an old man came onto the battlefield. Although shadowed by a hood, Sigmund saw that he only had one eye. The man raised his spear, and Sigmund struck at it with his sword, but the sword shattered into pieces. Sigmund then knew that this was Odin, and thus that victory could not be his. He bowed his head and accepted his end. Dying, he tells his wife that she is with child, and that her son will one day make a great weapon out of the fragments of his sword. The sword named Gram.
Take the sword. Take it. Come on, take it. Take it. Don't take it. It's a trick. It's a trick. It's coming from there and there. Look. You've started something.
What's happening?
Senua, imagine a sword that can slay gods. Its name is Gram. It was forged by the god of all Northmen, Odin, and gifted to Sigmund, a great warrior.
I need this sword. It's important. Can you help me?
The sword appears whole, but it is an illusion. It shattered into shards long ago. It is said a great warrior can reforge Gram. by answering the trials of Odin, one for each shard. The roots of the Tree of Death will take you to new lands where you will face the trials.
Go to the shard. What's the shard? Find it. It's in front of you. Find it. The metal, the runes.
You need that sword.
Go to the shard. Find the shards. Find it. There it is. There's the shard. Focus. Use your eyes. Look. What can you see? Focus on it.
A king in the north forced the dwarves to make a sword that would never fail and never rust, and that would slice through iron and stone and bring victory to its bearer. But the angry dwarves cursed it. It would be the death of a man every time it was drawn, and it would be the death of the king. Let me tell you about the sword Tyrving.
I don't recognize this place.
Where are we? It feels wrong.
Where are we now? Burial mound. So strange that we go to such lengths to bury death. Something so very ordinary, inevitable. It's as if we conspire to hide death, because we have no answer for it. But when it comes and forces itself onto our friends or loved ones, then comes the reckoning.
Dead in the air. Why would
Senua, you remind me of a story that the Northmen tell about a young woman warrior. Her name is Hervor, the daughter of a berserker born after he was killed. She's a wild, willful child who teaches herself to fight with weapons. When she learns where her father is buried, her only desire is to reclaim the treasure buried with him, but above all, the sword, Tyrving.
Go in. You have to go in. It's too dark. Take it. This will help you. You have to be able to see.
Who's there? Dillian, I'm here. I'm here for the trials. Like when we first met, remember?
Herver disguises herself as a man to join a band of warriors, and soon becomes their leader. When they come to the island where her father is buried, her men do not want to go ashore. They say that evil haunts the island, and that it is a worse place by day than other places are by night. Fearless, she lands alone. There are many grave mounds, and all of them have ghostly flames burning over them. She comes to the grave mound of her father after passing through these ghostly fires, as though they were mist.
Don't touch the walls.
The flames I passed through were real enough. Damn the Northmen to hell.
It's not safe here. If you go down there, no one can save you.
I can hear him.
Within the burial mound, Herver calls on her father to wake from death and bring her his sword. She says that it is not seemly for the dead in their grave mounds to bear valuable weapons. Her father answers with words of warning.
The voice
You
gets
go to your doom. Baleful runes surround you. You have gone mad. You have lost your mind. Your thoughts are confused. It is dangerous to wake the dead. Like I said, she reminds me of you.
Find the voice.
It's not him. We told you. We told you it was a trick. What's happening? It's not him, it can't be.
What's that sound? The voice is changing.
Herver ignores her father's warnings. The grave mound opens, and it seems to be full of fire. Again, Herver demands her inheritance, but her father warns her that the sword is cursed and would be the bane of her family. But he relents and brings her the sword. She leaves the island with it, but the curse holds true, and death would follow in the years to come. And so, Senua, the misdeeds of a father have cursed his daughter.
How do you get in there?
There's no way in. There has to be a way. There's always a way. You're too close to stop.
What's in there?
Herver ignores her father's warnings. The grave mound opens, and it seems to be full of fire. Again, Herver demands her inheritance, but her father warns her that the sword is cursed and would be the bane of her family. But he relents and brings her the sword. She leaves the island with it, but the curse holds true, and death would follow in the years to come. And so, Senua, the misdeeds of a father have cursed his daughter.
Quiet. He wants me to find him. I'm lost without him. That voice. It's not Dillian. Dillian wants me to face my fears.
Father? I'm leaving. I've decided. I think it will be good for me.
It's the darkness. It's speaking through
No,
you.
Dad, it's me. I think I can beat it. In my own way.
I can see the darkness in your eyes, child.
I met a boy.
Boy.
The chieftain's son.
No.
He said he could help me.
It's a trick.
He said I could be normal.
Normal.
Yes.
No boy is going to save you. No one can. When they see the rot growing inside you,
No!
they will turn their back on you. The gods can only fix you through my hand. You're going nowhere.
No.
You will not defy the gods. Come, child, take my hand. Come, Senua.
I am leaving!
You cannot escape the darkness. Your curse will make everyone suffer. You will have blood on your hands!
You did it.
There's more. There's still more. It's not going to be easy.
It's too much.
She hasn't got the energy.
I want to tell you a story about a god of the Northmen called Balder. The second son of Odin, he was beautiful, good and wise. He was fair of feature, he spoke fair words, he gave fair judgments. Light shone from him. Only good things were told of him. Yet he was the first of the gods to die.
Face. A mask. What does it see? You want to see what the mask sees. Where are we?
What is this?
It's the same. It's another world. The bridge. It's fixed. Let's cross it.
The Northmen tell this story about the death of Balder. It begins with dark dreams. Night after night, Balder dreams of his own death, and the gods fear for his life. So Balder's mother makes everything in the world: fire, water, iron, stone, earth, wood, beasts, birds, serpents, poison, sickness. Swear an oath not to harm her son. One by one, they each make their vow. Neither weapons nor wood will injure him, Balder's mother boasts. Only Loki, father of Hela, the mistress of death, is not amused.
He loves you.
Calling you. Dillian. Dillian, we're here. We're nearly here.
She can't. It's locked. She can't. The gate. She can't. She will. She'll find a way. She always finds a way.
gate is open. Go through the gate.
Go through it.
It's dangerous. What's behind the gate?
Thank you. It's Dillian.
There he is. What are you waiting for? Find him. Where is he? We're in the wrong world. She's in the wrong world. He's in the other one. He's in the other one. He's in the dark world. The dark world. The world once seemed so simple. Black and white. Darkness and light. Narrow dividing lines of our own making. Dillian taught her to see further. To peek through the cracks and see the worlds of color stretching away from the gloom. And Senua explored new paths into the unknown.
True that all things promise to keep him safe. I did not ask the mistletoe, Baldur's mother confessed. The gods feast and rejoice, and amuse themselves by throwing spears and stones at Baldur, striking her with sword and axe. But he comes to no harm, whatever they do. The gods never cease to wonder at this great marvel. But Loki shapes himself into a woman and asks Baldur's mother, is it really true that all things promise to keep him safe? I did not ask the mistletoe, Baldur's mother confesses. I thought it was too young. Oh dear.
He's gone. He's gone to the dark world.
Do you remember meeting him beneath the tree?
He's in the other world. Without you. You are guilty.
Was it worth it?
Why didn't she listen to her father?
There he is. Where are you taking He's up there. How do you get up there?
There is a way up there. She can do it. You're nearly there. Just find the way.
She thought she
Loki
had light
makes a
within her.
dart out of mistletoe and goes to the gods as they throw things at Baldur. The blind god, Huth, was there. Loki asks him why he wasn't taking part. Huth says, I cannot see where Baldur stands, and even if I could see him, I have no weapon. Loki replies, here is a wand. I will tell you where he stands. And Huth throws the mistletoe at Baldur. It pierces through him, and to everyone's horror, Baldur is killed. And for this, Huth is slain. The Northmen tell how the gods mourned Baldur. His body was to be burnt on his ship, but they could not manage to push it into the sea, and sent for a giantess to do it. She comes riding a wolf and has vipers for her reins. She pushes Baldur's ship into the sea with such force that the ground shakes and the rollers burst into flames. When Baldur's wife sees his body carried onto the ship, her heart bursts with grief, and she dies. She's put next to her husband, and the pyre is lit, sending the dead to hell.
That loved you.
But even so, the gods cannot accept his death.
The curse cannot be undone.
Years had passed since she left her father. She trained hard alongside her friend, Dillian. She saw things no one else could. Patterns, shapes, movement. An intuition that made her an exceptional warrior. Friendship turned to love. But the shadow of darkness never let her go, and she was caught between two worlds. That of Zinbel and her past,
To you.
and Dillian, her future. Two realities tearing at her soul.
The curse. Dillian saved you. Dillian's the only reason she's still alive.
Overcome with grief, the gods send Hermod to ride to Hell and ask Hela to let Balder return home. All the gods are weeping, he says. Are they? Asks Hela. We shall see if he is truly missed. If everything in the world will weep for him, he shall go back to the gods. But if even one thing refuses, Balder stays with me. The gods send messengers everywhere. Weep for Balder, weep him out of Hell. And everything wept. Men, beasts, earth, stone, trees, metal, everything. Except for a giantess they find in a cave. Balder was never my friend, she says. Let Hell keep what she has. The Northmen say that the giantess must have been Loki in disguise.
He saw who she could be.
He saw who she really was.
He saw the warrior within. You have no time for this. Speed. Curse has claimed Dillian. It's all part of their game. They've set you trials to distract you. What if these trials mean nothing? They're laughing at you. What if they are just to tire you out, to make you weak before the battle? Ever again. What does it feel like to be in love?
The Northmen tell how the gods punished Loki for Balder's death. They captured him and took him to a cave. They fetched his two sons and turned one into a wolf, and he ripped his brother apart. The gods used Loki's own son's entrails to tie him down and turned these bonds to iron and dangled a poisonous serpent over his face so that its venom would drip onto him. Each time the venom drips onto Loki's face, he writhes in agony. The Northmen say that is the cause of earthquakes. A reminder, perhaps, that if even gods must accept death, then so must we.
He was the only one she could trust. Could she trust you? What if this is pointless?
Why did you think you could make this work?
You keep seeing runes. You see runes everywhere. But what if they're not real?
The gods were lying.
If you think it makes sense, but really the gods are playing with you.
Worlds.
But it doesn't mean anything. Sinbel was right.
Time.
You'll never succeed.
Slow.
Quicker. Do you remember meeting him beneath the tree?
Minute by minute by minute.
She thinks she's special.
You're not special.
They mean nothing.
Cursed. It could all be a waste of her time.
What if the gods are laughing at her? It wouldn't be this easy.
It would be the first time.
Dillian!
There he is.
Dillian never much cared for the underworld, and looked dimly upon the druids, like her father, Sinbel. I guess he took after his father, a chieftain who believed nothing he couldn't see, and he happened to be blind. She felt safe in Dillian's arms, had to see the world through his eyes. And slowly, the darkness that had bound her so tightly began to unravel.
Very careful. It's a narrow bridge, and there's a long way to fall.
You're going to fall. Careful, don't look down. Yes, she
No! Where's he gone? Do it. He's gone. He's gone to the water.
Senua. Your father cannot understand your darkness. He cannot see through your eyes. No one can. My own father was born blind. Doesn't have the faintest idea of what the night looks like. The word dark to him means as little as the word light. So someone is afraid of the dark. Should we fix them by taking away their sight? Would you give up the beautiful world? You, and only you, can see just to be rid of your nightmares. Or is this the price you pay for the gift you have? A gift that makes you so special in my eyes. Just another part of the person I know.
I live for the wilds to protect you from my darkness. Because I love you. But it made it worse.
I'm so sorry. What if this is pointless?
You're wrong.
What if we're wrong?
The father never knows. It's just a trick. You've been fooled before, you could be fooled again. Being tested. You don't know.
It's just their game for you.
You never know which way it's going to go.